The first time I heard about the circus, if I'm totally honest, I wasn't up for it.
How we could tie this with the hunters in a hard showdown in 19th century, you know?
Are people going to love it? Are people going to hate it?
That alone brought a lot of freshness to the experience.
The circus is an amazing environment to fight around.
Maybe I created an AI that ended up killing Post Malone inside the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, young at heart, though growing old, welcome to the Murder Circus!
Collaboration with Post Malone started with Jeff, his agent, who reached out to us to tell us that Post Malone loves playing Hunt. And what can we do together? And the immediate answer was like, let's do an event with him.
So we had that chat internally across a bunch of different departments. Alexander in the art team, he drew up around 15 different Hunter concepts within 1 week.
We did it in a day or three, and we needed the final in 5 days. It was a very short amount of time. Gave our maximum, and then in the end, you're gonna see it in the character art, final 3D. It looks amazing.
There's a lot of tattoos on there, which actually, weren't really around in 1896.
Modern figure portraits and so on. So we were, okay, man, well, what are we going to do with that? We just switched the portraits of some famous hunters that we have in game, and we solved it that way.
We decided not to overcomplicate things and just create this character that was a folk singer turned circus ringmaster turned hunter fighting the circus, who looks like Post Malone, has tattoos like Post Malone, but just lives in the 1800s.
We then put those together into a pitch deck and we shipped it over to him.
Seeing his reaction and how he reacts to hunter skins, to weapon skins and charms, it's priceless.
How'd you get these scans? In my sleep? And then the choke bomb? What? Who makes this stuff? How do you make this stuff? I talk about my perk. I'm watching it again. I could watch this all day.
We added the fast finger trait, just something we had and kind of planned in a similar way for some time already. Okay, how can we improve the single shot weapons? Is there anything we can do in the trade, etc.? After the conversation with him, it kind of resonated. Let's double down on that one. Let's really get that going. Whenever we have a new need, then obviously we do a lot of brainstorming in the gameplay side. We kind of see what are the pros and the cons of this one, how does it integrate into the general game. But in parallel to that one, we also think about what is the emotional connection, what could be the creative direction around such a trait. So what's thematically maybe interesting to tie this to. Usually Ina does her Ina magic, and we get some really, really good graphics to support then whatever we come up with on the gameplay side and test.
When we were doing the Battle Pass video, I purposely hadn't submitted a few things to him because I wanted to surprise him. So he hadn't seen the Fast Fingers trait illustration before.
She is amazing. It's so cool to see her do an illustration of something that I thought of.
Dear colleague sent me a snippet from this video that was shot with Post Malone.
And that's also something that got me into the game as well, that these illustrations.
When the mind goes spiraling, the artistic mind goes spiraling, I can just rewatch it. Every word, every comment, every message that I'm getting about these things, about the art and everything, it's really, I appreciate it a lot. And there are so many bits and pieces that I collect somewhere in my mind and my subconsciousness, and then I shake it well, and out come the motives for the traits and everything. I am not getting lost into complex motives or making it too difficult to read or something. I really have to stick to one clear image that is hopefully striking. With the posters, it's a bit challenging because I have to consider the technique, how it was done, the brush strokes, the texture of the paper and everything, but also it can't look too professional. It needs a little bit of a quirky handwriting. And also for the lettering in the world, it's what would a person do that is not hired to paint something on walls, the letters are a bit off or up and down, too close to each other, the spacing is off and all these things. What was in particular interesting with Murder Circus is to create something that is still on brand and within the art direction, but also sticking to a dark, twisted vibe and still giving it a little bit of circus humor.
With the Murder Circus, for the first time, we actually introduced a new location that we had to find new game spaces for. So there was kind of between the different compounds that we had established, so like a field that was kind of empty, all of a sudden, there was a circus tent there. So finding and identifying and going like location scouting and like across the map, which could be a nice place to put the circus at. Is that a place you can kind of shoot into too easily? Is it maybe too fortified?
There was always the idea to do like event areas in the game. It's just a great way for us to add a fresh experience on an existing map and to add variation on a map and add just another layer of depth of cool new gameplay experience. A completely new map, it takes a lot of work, really lots and lots and lots of work, and it is great and it is meaningful. It's a huge commitment. But doing these changes on the map also gives you something fresh to experience, and we can do it a lot quicker, so you don't have to wait for years. That's the difference. Playing with cloth and playing with the shapes and playing with this feeling of it getting dragged down, so it's like heavy. It's like it drags you down into hell, basically. And we wanted to have the slight translucency of the tent surface. And I think we found a good middle ground, but it was quite hard to achieve the right lighting for the tent. It is illuminated enough, but you're also not blasted with light once you go inside the tent. So you have a nice glow from the outside. Then it's very easy that you go fully overboard on the inside. And just to balance all of that, there's a lot of these kind of aspects. Now, for the first time, you can also experience the Murder Circus in the Saal,
which wasn't there as we did it last time. So finding like new spaces for where the circus could be positioned on the Saal was also very interesting for us, while at the same time revisiting the existing places on the other maps and making sure they kind of like live up to the changes we're doing structurally, gameplay-wise, etc. Now, moving into the second Murder Circus, the Murder Circus Encore, what we did is we changed the 3 troops we had in the first Murder Circus to become 5 troops, but we also removed the exclusivity. So they just have a pledge mark cost each, and you can combine the different trades that you get. It's like 1 trade per troops, no deepening like in the previous one. Like the players can experiment with that a bit more openly now. One of the things that we really wanted to do with the original Murder Circus is have more smaller circus attractions around, like small things you can do. Like we did have the fortune teller machine, which I think people really liked, giving you like random rewards, random trades and other abilities. But we wanted to do more originally. Now we've added a new one, the High Striker. But how exactly that one works is something that we want you to find out whenever you have a chance. I'm not going to talk too much about that right now.
A fortune teller who sees into your soul.
The World of Hunt is this really run-down, broken world where everything is kind of old and rusty. So I tried to make sure that everything I worked that sounds like it was made of people, but it's been a long time ago. Everything in there would be kind of squeaky and rusty and sound like it's on the edge of breaking. I just went into my session and picked up 100 different sounds that would fit this feature in any way. So stuff that sounded like metallic things or wooden things. I have one sound that I rewrote the name of it to be like magical, kind of magical in a way that you would maybe try to make this machine sound like if you, as a human, were designing it.
Laughing clowns hiding hunger behind smiles.
We just locked ourselves into a recording booth, and then did evil laughs. You feel kind of sorry for them, but at the same time, they should scare you. So it's this kind of evil, sick mix. He does this little singing, right? Where are you? He doesn't say anything, but you hear his singing. So the clown grunt was a super cool opportunity to just get in front of the microphone and do crazy things.
Twin terror bears who just might eat you whole.
We were thinking about what can we make inside of the circus, what can we put inside of the circus to make the circus more alive.
We had the idea to add a bear to the game for a long time already. Some kind of bear. And we call it bear monstrosity because it's not just a plain old bear, right? Disgusting creature! Ursa Mortis!
Once we have ideas that are then turned into something you can actually make into a game, we start prototyping that idea. So in the early prototypes of Ursa Mortis, she did not look like Ursa Mortis because the character did not exist yet. She looked like the meathead. We made the meathead do all the things that Ursa Mortis does right now in the early prototypes. We're trying to find the fun in making an AI. Initially, we actually wanted to have more than one Ursa Mortis inside the circus. So there was an idea for there to be 2 or even 3 Ursa Mortis roaming inside the circus. Now, we all know how hard she is to beat, so due to playtesting, we reduced that to 1.
Interesting thing about bears in general is that they actually have very limited vocabulary. They don't make many vocalizations. They kind of do this typical, the sound that you hear in every movie and game, this kind of sound, right? The bear is obviously super aggressive and terrifying, and it should sound that way. It's also kind of a sad environment. The circus is kind of tragic, like the idea of a bear ending up, on this roaming circus like a freak. Humans automatically, connect with dogs and feel sorry for dogs. What I found is that, through processing and pitching those sounds down quite a bit, you get like this. What sounds like a large beastly animal, but it has this kind of relatable sadness to its voice. It's a really cool encounter. One of the most interesting NPC encounters we have, I think.
If you're approaching without noise, you might actually have Ursa just like come bashing through those walls. Something we tried out for the original Murder Circus, but couldn't quite get there. So now being able to do this again, we were able to revive some of these cool ideas we had back then and kind of make them part of the Murder Circus now.
This is the surprise, he said. Who's this playing? I don't want to play Paul.
He has a saw blade tattoo, and we kind of saw those two things. We're like, yeah, we need to get the weapon. Initially, when I first made the design, for example, I wanted it to be only a one-shot, one-shot reload, kind of similar to the crossbow. But we play tested that a bit. It just wasn't giving the power that we wanted to. We ended up going up to 6, shooting quite fast. The idea for the Shredder in general, though, was to make sure that it gave players like a power fantasy. It needed to feel like it was worth the pledge marks that it cost, and it gave that feeling of like I'm the power. Have the weapon from the center, everyone should be scared of me.
They turned out to be quite more powerful in the end, which is obviously a lesson learned from our side. We did some patches around the event as well to kind of see if we can mitigate. When we went back on the drawing board for how we could change the Shredder for the Murder Circus Encore, we kind of looked at what people liked, what they didn't like. And the 2 main points that stood out was like that the weapon was just a bit too spammy in general. That's both in terms of the explosive ammunition, which we've now decided to remove, but also the homing and the rate of fire. We kind of dialed all of that a little bit back. So we went to the drawing board, understood, okay, like this is what mechanically the weapon can do. Let's change it a little bit. So for example, we now have the chance to manually charge this weapon up to make this blade spin. And we do have now the technology to actually have these blades continue to spin and then slow down even if the weapon isn't selected, which we couldn't do originally. At the same time, we also reduced the rate of fire a little bit. So every time you kind of fight a weapon, you kind of spin it up one more time just to give it a nice jolt. And that meant it's no longer really a semi-automatic, but almost more like a lever action like speed. And that made it a lot more balanced overall. It's still a very powerful weapon. It kills players very easily, like it should. However, it takes a lot more practice now to kind of like make use of it, and it's no longer a spam weapon, especially with the explosive ammo being removed.
We want the PvE experience to be fun. We want the PvP experience to be fun and challenging as well. These unique weapons allow us to just experiment, prototype, come up with really cool ideas, and really test out what hunt, what we can add to hunt, and what fun things players will have.
For the Murder Circus Encore, the weapon had a rework. The spinning is now way less loud over distance, which was kind of also a little bit of a pain point we addressed from the players.
So as we were experimenting with the shredder, and like we have this tradition of these exotic weapons in the game, like the bomb plan, etc., we felt like there's room for more. We have some really cool ideas for some more exotic weapons down the line. So no details yet, but yeah, keep your eyes peeled.
Welcome to Post Malone's Murder Circus. Let our marvelous spectacle take you beyond your wildest dreams.
Post Malone started out as the ringmaster of the circus. The circus was corrupted. He became the deposed king, kind of fallen from grace as the leader of the circus. At the end of that event, the circus fades from view, and it hasn't been defeated, and no one knows what has happened with the circus. Post Malone goes underground and just decides he's going to become an even more badass hunter. He's refining his skills. He's becoming more deadly, trail of dead behind him for miles. So he becomes the disciple of death, which is what you will know him as in this Murder Circus event. And his right trigger hand is Grace Kim, the sharpshooter. All of the clowns are killed except for Giggles, and she's mad with grief. She wants to destroy this corrupted circus, and it's around the time that she's experienced this that she meets Sunshine. And the two of them become allies, and they're gonna take out the corrupted circus. They go recruit some more circus folks. So we have Bradley, the strongman, and he wants to be a part of something bigger, so he's sold on what they have to say. Both of these groups of people have the same goal. They want to destroy the circus, but they're coming at it from different angles. Post Malone is just going to annihilate it. He wants to burn it to the ground, salt the earth, kind of move on. Whereas the group of circus performers, they're mourning, they're looking for closure. They also want to destroy this corrupted circus, but they want to then build something new.
The most satisfying thing that you can experience as an artist is when you see your concept or sketch coming alive.
When I saw the shredder in Post Malone's hands, that was awesome.
I think we're actually always like the last in line. We can only jump in once those elements are ready and we can film them or photograph them. The same goes to lore. Like if we're supposed to do a trailer, we need to know what the lore behind those characters is.
A little man came up to me, offered to trade me something powerful and magic if I just let him join the circus and disappear.
When we were recording the interview, I remember that we asked him for his favorite loadout, and we were just planning loadout, and that's all we wanted.
Springfield and conversion pistol. Necromancer, resilience, magpie, assailant, silent killer.
And it kept going on and on and on.
To be fair, he knows Hunt better than some of the players I know. That was the moment I think that we knew that this is a great sign for the event that's coming, that he is a true Hunt player.
Camera 1, camera 2.
Cut that.
Let's stop it.